Welcome back, GlamFam. It's your girl, Angela Denise, and I am here with you today to talk about 8 makeup products that did not work out for me. Now, a few of these are makeup products that didn't meet my expectations, and then some of them were just complete letdowns. So I have a few eyeshadow palettes, brow, and complexion products that I want to go ahead and discuss with you guys. Before we dive into the video, I want to give a quick shout out to one of my OG subscribers, Miss Irma Morrissey. She has been following me since I posted my tutorial on the Jackie Aina and ABH collaboration palette that she did a few years back. Thank you so much for rocking with me, girl. And to everyone else watching in today's video, thank you for rocking with me on yet again another video. So let's dive into the eyeshadow palettes. Actually, both palettes you're going to be quite surprised about, to be honest, but I just wanted to come and talk to you about these and let you know what my thoughts are about these products. I know that we do a good job at sharing the products that we love, but we also need to talk about products that didn't work out or products that didn't meet our expectations. So the first palette that I want to talk to you guys about is the ABH Norvina Volume 5 palette. Now, you may be surprised by this, but one of the reasons why I did the live video and didn't really do a full-on tutorial about this palette is because after watching a couple of reviews, after doing a little digging into this palette, I realized that 18, yes ma'am, 18 of these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful shades are not recommended to be used around the eye. Now, it's an eyeshadow palette though, right? So I believe that the reason why is because it's pigments, but I get frustrated because I have a problem with that. So the problem that I have with most of these eyeshadows not being recommended to be used around the eye is because most of the people that watch my videos and many other videos on YouTube are everyday women. So when that is not something that is mentioned enough, you won't even know. So it's possible that you could experience irritation or something like that around the eye and not even be aware of why it's happening. So I actually love this color story. It is so beautiful to me. But I've been hesitant to make a tutorial on my channel because it states, if you scroll down on Sephora and you look, it lists out the eyeshadows that aren't recommended to be used around the eye, and I'm actually quite disappointed about that. And the other thing is, I went back and I looked at some of the other palettes like this, the Pro Pigment palettes, and I didn't see that, or at least I didn't see it on the Sephora website. So I don't know if you guys have noticed this. I don't know if anyone else is talking about this, but that's one of the reasons why I'm disappointed. I'm not disappointed in the quality of the eyeshadows, the palette. You're getting 25 eyeshadows and they're actually quite large at $65. So I think that that's a really good price point for what it is that you're getting. But what I'm not happy about is the fact that they're not recommended around the eye. So I just want to go ahead and just come and make sure that you all were aware that they don't recommend that these be used around the eye, or you use them at your own risk. And that just doesn't sit too well with me. So yeah. Okay, another palette is by one of my absolute favorite brands when it comes to eyeshadows. I actually mentioned this palette on my channel here recently, and you know, I bought the palette, so I'm going to use the palette, basically. So this is the Natasha Denona Zendo palette. Now, this palette isn't a complete flop. However, it's just a little bit underwhelming for me. Like, it doesn't get my creative juices flowing. And honestly, a few of the eyeshadows in this palette are not at the quality that I would expect from Natasha Denona, and it basically is on this side of the palette when you are looking at the cool tone eyeshadows, which is what I was most excited about because I don't have a lot of cool or neutral eyeshadows in my collection. This palette, so mainly the colors Breath and Flow are the problematic colors. Flow is really, really sheer. So that's kind of like a topper shade. Breath is so chalky that it is really hard to work with. The color story was originally like fascinating for me. Some of the colors in this eyeshadow palette I haven't even worn yet. And I think that it would be safe to say that this is my least favorite Natasha Denona palette that I own currently. But I'm going to continue to try to work with the palette because, of course, I do have it. Most likely, I'm going to take the ABH palette back if it's not recommended that you use it around the eye, honestly. But yeah, I don't know how you guys feel, but the chalkiness and breath, when that's actually the color that I was most interested in, the blue colors, they just don't apply very well. I've tried different application techniques. I do know my way around a brush, so I've tried all of the techniques and it's just not a good formulation. So the other colors in the palette I feel can be duplicated with other things that I have in my collection. And so as of right now, this is not something that if you haven't picked it up already that I will recommend. So this is one that you won't necessarily see in a future favorites video or anything like that. I will keep it, I will use it and work my way through it. Plus, I want to collect all of the mini palettes because I think that for Natasha Denona, that's the most bang for your buck. So the next thing that I bought is from the HuDA Beauty Glowish collection. Now, you guys know that I love the bronzer. Where is it? I'm not wearing it on my face right now, but I love this Glowish bronzer. It's one of the best bronzers, one of my favorite bronzers that I've purchased so far this year. Now, what I also want to mention real quick, because you guys always ask me so many questions, but everything that I'm wearing on my face right now, the makeup application, there will be a video coming later. However, if you want to know what it is that I'm wearing on my face, it will all be linked in the description bar. And I will also have my top linked in the description bar in case you guys are wondering. Okay, HuDA Beauty Glowish. So the bronzer worked out. This did not. So the HuDA Beauty Glowish Multi-Dew Skin Tint. I did pick the shade up in Extra Tan. The shade is good. The formulation is not. I did wear it 2 or 3 times. What I will say is this is a light to buildable to medium coverage on this. And the thing about it is that it's glowy. So if you have an oily T-zone, it's going to look horrible on your skin. The other thing is that it does emphasize texture. So I do have texture on my skin, and I have a lot of foundations that are full, medium to full coverage foundations that are actually lighter in weight. So like the viscosity of this is a little bit thick. I don't know if that's the reason why it enhances texture, but it definitely enhances texture on my skin. And I've actually heard a few other people say that it does the same for them. So, it's not necessarily that it's a glowy skin tint. It enhances texture on my skin. And that's the reason why I don't like it. And I'm not really into making things work for me anymore that I don't love. So more than likely, this one is going to go bye-bye. And if you have oily skin, it's a no. So the only person that I would recommend this product to is someone that has drier skin and has a pretty flawless canvas. So yeah. What's next? Let's go ahead and talk about another ABH product. So I tried to love this. I've used different techniques. I may give it another go, but this product just does not work for me. Perhaps I'm using it wrong. If you know some application techniques for this product, please comment. Please let me know. But this is the Anastasia. This is the Brow Freeze. So I tried to use it a couple of times. There's not really a lot to say. I really did like the idea of the fluffy brow. I used all of my techniques. I've used it without priming. I've used it primed. I've used it with a brow pen. I've used it with a brow pencil. It just is mushy on my face. So I like a very firm brow. I don't know how to describe it, but I like to put like this Benefit brow setter stuff in my brow. So I like for my brows to have hold. And so it just doesn't really do anything for me. And then when you try to put a pencil on top of it, the pencil doesn't have the pigmentation, you know, like the normal pigmentation that it would have. So I am just exhausted with trying to make it work. Everything ain't for everybody, and the brow freeze wasn't for me. So yeah, it really does pain me to say the things about these products because these are brands that I actually really, really love. So next, we're going to talk about a couple of Makeup by Mario. You all know that I have been loving the Makeup by Mario soft sculpting sticks. I am wearing the soft sculpting stick today in the shade Dark. I love the soft, the sticks, the blush sticks and the sculpting sticks. However, the powder products that he came out with, they're not awful, but they're not my favorites either. So that is why I'm trying to get a brush so I can demo this for y'all. Okay, so that is why I'm mentioning it today. So the first one that I want to talk to you about is the Soft Sculpt Bronzer. This is the shade Dark, and there's one shade darker than this. It continues to stay out of stock. And so one of the things that we are having less and less tolerance of is the lack of shade range. So I was actually quite surprised because the sculpting sticks actually were deeper, but this is a dark shade, and usually your dark is darker than this. Now I want to note that the Sephora bronzer looks lighter than this in the pan, but when you apply it, it actually does apply a little bit darker. This does not. I do like the tone, the undertone of this bronzer, but I don't like the shade range. I really don't like the formulation of this, and I don't like the fact that the deepest shade stays out of stock. So the formulation, the issue that I have is just that it's so powdery. So I wanted to kind of show you guys, you know, what I'm talking about. So I hope that you were able to see what I'm talking about from that demo on how powdery it is. So that's why I'm not going to keep it. I also want to mention that I picked up the Creamy Peach blush as well, and this is kind of similar to the formulation on the bronzer. It's very powdery, and this shade just doesn't really do much for my complexion. So yep, wasn't really a fan of the bronzers or the powder blushes. So moving right along, I have two more products that one is super old, but I thought that I'd go ahead and throw it in this video so that you can, you know, just know my thoughts on it, because we do discuss so many products here on the channel. So the next product is from one of my all-time favorite brands for complexion, and that is NARS. NARS released a creamy radiance correcting concealer. Now you guys know that this Urban Decay Stay Naked is my all-time favorite at this point, all-time favorite color corrector. The shade is 80WO for reference. This is the perfect shade for color correcting until I seen the color on NARS's corrector. Now the issue that I have with this corrector is not the color, it's the consistency, the viscosity of the actual product inside. It's very watery. So for me, I want something that's opaque and has a little bit of weight to it when I'm trying to cover up like hyperpigmentation marks. So I'm going to try to work with this because honestly, the color is dead on perfect for my skin tone or those that are in my skin tone range. The problem is that what you have to do is you apply it. Well, first of all, let's talk about that it's radiant. I don't really want to apply any type of radiance to a pigmentation spot. I want it to be something that is kind of like a natural finish or a matte finish. So this actually has some radiance to it, and also it is a little bit I don't want to say sheer, but it's definitely not a full coverage. So yeah, that's enough. And honestly, I just convinced myself that yes, I don't want this product because I don't need anything sheer or radiant when it comes to hiding hyperpigmentation. Last but not least is a brand that I have over the last year and a half fallen head over heels for. Head over heels for this brand. I just can't say enough about most things that I, have used from the brand. So the issue that I have with this concealer isn't necessarily the concealer. The issue that I have is the packaging. For reference, I am using the shade 9 Tan in the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Away Concealer because it's such a beautiful product. Now, it's so hard to open, especially after it's been sitting a while. And I can't really get the top all the way down. The packaging is bad. I don't really necessarily have an issue with the dial up. I have an issue with the sponge applicator on the end being so close to the eye. And I have an issue with that it's so hard to open. It gets goopy around on the inside. There's even bite marks, y'all, where I'm like, trying to open it. And so who has time for that? So yeah, the concealer is beautiful. It's a beautiful concealer. The packaging ruined it all. Those are 8 makeup products from brands that I absolutely adore. And the brands I love and these products just were a fail. So you guys comment down below and let me know what your experiences were with these products, and I will see you in the next one.